That's her. I think we're live. So Matthew, how are you doing?
I'm doing terrible,
Oh,
but okay.
you're looking good. You're
I hate
looking
my.
good.
Well, thanks. Uh, and it sucks when people ask you that when you're going through some stuff, and they're like, "So how you doing?" And you're like, "Oh man, like, do you actually want me to pull you into my depressing ass stories?" It's like, "I'm doing good," but I'd be lying. I don't want to do that either. I need to add that to my ledger. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta say, well, not so good.
Could be worse. Could be
Oh yeah,
worse. Could be
they
worse.
could. It could be worse, and that's a terrifying thought.
Well, you still have your chipper sense of humor. We were chatting before
Yeah.
we went live here.
Oh yeah.
We were talking lots of highbrow, sophisticated
Yeah.
topics, the arts, you
People
know.
couldn't have handled it. You
No,
know,
no, way
they're
too
not ready.
sophisticated for my
Well,
listeners. So,
yeah. Well,
so
we'll have to build them up to get them to that level. Then we can drop some truth bombs of that magnitude on them. Nah, just
but
kidding.
we're being silly. We're being silly. But I am very happy to have you back in more ways than one.
I
Back.
missed you, buddy.
Yeah, I took a year off. I didn't talk to anybody for a year. And so if I'm a little extra crazy and weird, you'll know why. Because I was in hermit mode.
Wow. Did you
And
gain anything from it? Was it like a spiritual thing,
no, I
or were you
just
just
was
being weird?
backsliding, laziness,
Oh, really?
laziness. I had a private conversation with you and the Lisney brothers about my little
Mm-hmm.
backsliding with temptation. I just talked about it on my last podcast that I did with the Catholic Ninja. He was my guest today.
Cool.
I talked a little bit about it, how there was sexual temptation because of a video game, and
Oh yeah.
I talked about that. Like that's just that was the most dramatic example because the demons came right in and they were like there toying with me
Oh yeah.
until I got to confession, and then bang, they were gone. But that's just the most dramatic example. But over the year, it's been rough just because of general lethargy and laziness. And I didn't have access to the sacraments. Now I've started reserving my spot. I'm one of 10 people that can sit in the church and go to Mass instead of watching it on the internet because I don't get much out of it on the internet. Like I do a spiritual communion every morning, every night. But
Right.
sitting and watching the Mass on the internet, it does not melt my butter, I can tell you that. I'm frustrated and annoyed because I want the sacrament. I want the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. That's what I want to be there. I don't want to be sitting at home.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, and I don't like the fact that the government is controlling the church, and I don't think it's right that 250 people can go to a movie theater, but only 10 people can go to church. I don't think it's right. And here in Quebec, it's crazy. So I don't want to complain about oppressive governments, but they're just trying to do what they think is right and blah blah blah. I have sympathy for them, but it is annoying. It is really annoying. Why do we only have 10 people in church? These churches are huge in Quebec. They're beautiful. We should have we should let as many people in as want to come in because it's never packed in any of these churches. But now you have to reserve and
Man.
it's just there's no need for it. There's absolutely no need for it. The churches are in crisis financially anyway in Quebec in particular, in Canada in general, and I think worldwide there's a lot of crisis of vocations, crisis of Catholics that are just lukewarm. They don't do the minimum. They're not participating in their faith as they should. And so there's already a crisis in the church, so I don't think we need to exacerbate it by having the government clamping down on it. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So did you make
Yeah.
it? Did you make it to mass this morning?
I sure did. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. Well, uh, it's the first time visiting the place, so I don't know. It was cool. I got to go there with my dear friend Ernie, who I believe is Saint Ernie, Saint Ernest. Uh, he's a very godly man, And but anyway, so it was good to go and spend some time with him, and he's been helping me along. I've been going through a lot of stuff, and he's just shows up with just kindness and grace and helping me out with money. He's like, here, it's amazing, to
Wow.
have people like that in my life.
Wow.
So yeah, he's been great, and he's awesome. He's 75, and he's like a badass commercial plumber guy. Like
Wow.
he works with me, and he still works circles around all of us. And
Mm,
he's just such a good dude, man. Never says a negative thing about anybody.
nice.
Yeah, but anyway,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
I
Yeah.
want to get him on, and I asked him, but he's like, "Oh no, I don't know about that." You know, he's just like, "I wouldn't have much to add." You know, I'm
No,
like,
no,
"It's
no,
not
no,
like
no,
that.
no,
We just want to hear
no.
your story,
No,
man."
no, no. Just get him on. If you have to, we'll do it like what we're doing right now. But he'll be sitting beside you, and you just hold the camera on him
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
keep
yeah.
it
Well,
simple. Keep
yeah,
it simple.
yeah.
Keep it
Because he'd be
simple.
great.
Make him comfortable. Get
Hmm.
him a little glass of water, or a cup of tea, whatever he needs to feel comfortable. Take his bathroom break before we start talking, and whatever.
Yeah.
I work with an 83-year-old or 84-year-old or whatever he is, and he's a construction guy, mechanic, and has got a lot of skills, got a lot of tools at the shop where I work, and he's like a father figure for me. He's an old Italian guy, special forces Italian special forces back in the day. He served his country, and he's tough as nails. He's at least as strong as I am. I don't claim to be strong physically, but I don't have a lot of physical work to do at work. But occasionally I help him, and he's a tough old guy, very simple, wholesome, old school European character. Really love that vibe. Gruff, gruff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Love that.
Me too.
Love it.
Yeah, those guys are cool, and they have a lot of wisdom too. If you know, they'll drop some truth on you every now and then. You're like, what the fuck? That was awesome. Sorry.
Lots of wisdom. Yeah, don't worry about
Yeah.
the F-bombs. That's all right. I think the people today can handle it.
Yeah.
I'm
Swear.
trying to stop swearing myself because as you know, I've never really been able to get a handle on my swearing. When I do the podcast, I'm pretty good at not swearing, but in my day-to-day life,
Yeah.
around the construction guys or around my wife, it's just part of the banter, you know.
Yep. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I enjoy it, but I keep telling my priest that I want to make it a priority to stop because I know it probably offends God a little bit, right?
I don't know. I hope not.
Hey, let's just say that's the least of your worries right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us how the mass was. Were you inspired at all, or was it feeding your soul? Did you crave the Eucharist? Do you want to go to
Yeah.
do you want to go to
That's what
confession too?
Yeah, I actually do. I need to. I still took the sacrament today, and it was good. And that it was the homily was not very. It
How
was okay, and it was on point.
how were you
The,
able
the,
to take the Eucharist? That seems impossible to me.
well, see, this is how. So when I went to confession this last time,
Yeah.
and I told this guy everything,
Okay.
and he said, "You're forgiven of all of your sins,
Wow.
including my." The divorce, the adultery.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything.
Newsflash, everybody out there. Yeah, I totally ruined my whole life. Committed adultery a few months ago, so I'm in a really bad spot. But anyways, we can talk about that more later. But yeah, so if I was, he has the authority, right? He's sitting there in the place of Christ, and he said, "I'm forgiven of all."
Yeah.
Wiped clean, and I believe him.
Yeah. Of course.
So
Of course.
I don't think I have to. And now that my other marriage is coming to an end, it sucks how it's come to an end, but it was already kind of a banned. It wasn't an authorized marriage anyhow, so I know that I can go and have it annulled. There's a process. I can have both of my previous marriages annulled and be fine.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
no,
That's very good.
that's really good.
Was this your Indian priest that you told me about before?
No, he's this was a Spanish guy, older Spanish guy. One of the because they kind of travel around a lot. They get shuffled around at St. Teresa's in Carson City a lot. I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but when I was a kid and I was baptized by this guy, Father Jerry Hanley, and he was like, he took the church from like 25 people to like over 1,000 were coming, and they had to.
Wow.
He was powerful, and he was there my whole life. So I mean, he just retired, and that was 40 years. You know, he baptized me 40 years ago, and he just retired because he
Wow.
started getting dementia. But this he was, like his homilies did. He'd have people bawling every. You know,
Wow.
he was an amazing dude, and he was like an old like steel worker from like Detroit, and he like so he was like a hard dude, but he got like the calling and like
Mm.
quit his career and went and became a priest. But anyway, so I was always used to having the same guy around, but now it's like there's different people all the time. I don't really like that, but
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I don't understand why
that's
they would do that.
the church. The church is under attack, and so we've got a crisis of not enough young people responding to the call to the priesthood, for example, and not a lot of very, maybe a shortage of really devout, faithful priests, and the quality might not be there sometimes. I don't want to disparage the priesthood. There are many, many, many very good priests. But yeah, there's a crisis in the church. The church is under attack from within and from without.
Yeah.
And so the priests are really overworked and underpaid. They get moved around a lot. So that's
Yeah.
the way it is. That's the way it is right now. We have to accept it. But I'm really excited and happy for you that you're getting the sacraments.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't know if I found a loophole and the guy screwed up or whatever, but I'm taking his word for it. I'm going for it, man. I was like, all right.
yeah. I mean, the main concern is that you're in proper full communion with the church. You agree with everything that the church teaches. Last time you and I spoke about doctrine, you were way out in left field, like way out in left field, like
Yeah.
doubting the Trinity. You cannot take the Eucharist if you doubt the Trinity. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Well, if you affirm the Apostles' Creed, right?
you got to affirm the Apostles' Creed as a bare minimum. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there with that.
Okay.
I'm in on that 100%. No, I am.
Yeah.
So that's where I can say that.
Well, maybe you needed to fall
I,
to come back to God because you were really way out
yeah.
there.
Oh, dude, I was listening. I had demons in my ear the last 2 years. You know that whole
Yeah,
process
yeah, yeah,
when I talked to you before I went to that first retreat and I was freaking out.
yeah,
I mean, this has all been because I gave into demonic. I put myself out there and I took the bait and
yeah,
started flirting with things.
yeah.
And very, very subtly, my entire life was unraveled. My beliefs were attacked. My faith, it just ate all of that away and then led into, depravity.
Yeah.
And, things, I never thought I would do what I did, and I never planned on it. I was a very faithful man for about a decade to my wife, and
Yeah.
I was a bonehead and had made mistakes or something like
Yeah.
everybody, but I was trying my best to be a faithful Christian man, following Christ's example in my marriage and as a father.
Yeah.
But yeah, flirting with those things will destroy you, and I could have told you that, but it was very subtle. The enemy is very, very subtle. And then all of a sudden there's something on and then it grows and grows until it's something that's out of control and it's beyond you. And then it's just, you're sunk. And then they reel you in and throw you on the deck and gut you in front of everybody and just expose you. And all the bait, was a cheap ripoff. Like I was telling you earlier,
Yeah.
I just realized I sold myself out so cheap. Like a cheap whore. I totally did. And it was disgusting and everything.
Yeah.
Not satisfying. It wasn't like, oh, I had a great time and all this pleasure and stuff. It sucked, all of it.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of it, it was
hollow. It's hollow.
It was just like the realization. It's like you've been played like an idiot by And
you're barely human at that point. You're like a doll or a mannequin or a robot or in a trance or something. You're like you're barely human at that point when you're spreading your legs for Satan. It's just like it's not. It looks good. Maybe it looks good in a slick film, like a promotional film promoting kinky satanic sex. Maybe it looks good in the promotional materials because Satan's very subtle and a slick salesman. But when you're actually there spreading your legs for him, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good physically. It doesn't feel good spiritually. It doesn't feel good in any way whatsoever. And you just
Nope.
you're barely human. Like I said, you're drifting away from life at that point. And when you come back to God, when you come back to Jesus Christ, and you come back to the church and the sacraments and prayer, and you have the peace, and you're able to actually take a moment with God whenever you want to, because you have that peace. There's no price tag for that. I mean, you know you made the right decision to come back. You know you made the right decision to repent and to be honest with yourself of what a dirty whore you are.
Yeah.
And I think I see this as a real victory for you, a real victory for you. And I had my little mini victory because of COVID, falling and then realizing what a loser I am, and so on and so forth. And we need to be broken. God enters through a broken heart, right? He needs
He does.
he needs access to your heart, and so you got to break your heart, and you'll do it. The demons will help you to do it, and
Yeah.
it's the easiest thing in the world to fall and to be broken, and then Christ can pick up the pieces. But at least you allowed yourself, you humbled yourself, and you were honest with yourself, and you're able to come back to Christ and His church. It's a miracle, really. You should be jumping up and down right now.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, when I came to that realization that because of course, once you do that, then the voices turn to God. God is done with you. Don't even try it. And I believed it. But when I came to the realization a week or so ago that I do have that opportunity, that God still does actually love me and is pursuing me actively, like He's after my ass.
Mm-hmm.
He's seriously, and just surrounding me with certain people, and it's obvious. It's painfully obvious. It's like, whoa, that. So when I came to that realization, I cried for 2 days straight, man. I was just a puddle on the floor, like seriously, just puddle of snot and drool and tears, man. And I had
Wow.
some real solid, faithful Christian brothers around to help pick me up, and they're checking on me, making sure
Yeah.
I'm just surrounded by these armies of guys. But when I was out in the world, it was crazy how I was just getting surrounded by the devil's people. It was
Oh yeah.
crazy,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
instantly,
Yeah.
instantly. Oh man, it was so ugly and disgusting and demonic, and these women or whatever that were coming my way all just happened to be Wiccan and pagan and into all of this same stuff, like by like random, and it was like doing
Mm-hmm.
magic stuff, and it was
Mm-hmm.
an actual. And I doubt that stuff. And when people talk about it, because there was a lot of bullshit out there, the fake, like the Ouija board, oh, I need the Ouija board, or tarot cards and stuff, how it can be a childish game and be total bullshit. But I'm telling you, like, there is something real to all of that, and to stay the fuck away from it, because I've met in my little wandering real actual witch, someone who actually could do some shit, and it was really terrifying, and it messed me up.
Yeah.
And that was where I was put. I was flirting with that stuff, and it was like, oh, here you go, And I can't say the details because this is public stuff, but
Yeah.
it's very scary shit. Very oh man, it's real. So
Yep.
anyone thinking about toying with that stuff, because I'd toyed with it before, and it was like nothing. It's like, ooh,
Yeah.
stupid shit. But I'm telling you, like, I could recognize clear as day now who that was that I was dealing with,
Yeah.
that spirit or whatever it is.
What would you say to someone, a skeptical atheist who's very complacent about his own sin, and like Robert White, for example, he's always making fun of us because we believe in God and
Oh
Satan
God,
and the
man.
demons, and he thinks we're crazy to believe in the demons, but you and I have had firsthand experience with them. Now, what is why? I think
Absolutely.
I think C.S. Lewis talks about this, how when you're doing Satan's will, he doesn't really bring out the fireworks and reveal himself in a dramatic way. But when you're in the spiritual battle and you're ostensibly on the side of Jesus Christ, and he can tempt you and bring you into sin, we have more capacity for seeing
Oh
the reality
yeah.
of those demons, and it's more dramatic Whereas if you're just doing Satan's will anyway, he's just happy to let you be in a very comfortable, mundane situation
Yeah.
where you think that all that stuff is laughable. Just like you looked at tarot
Yep.
cards and said it's
Yeah.
laughable,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
You could
Exactly.
just
Yeah. You
exist
have
with that perspective.
you have blinders on, and I gave in to the whole atheistic thing. I was talking to Aaron Raw. You saw my interview with
Yeah.
him. I was basically kissing his ass, and then I bought into all of that stuff. And now I look back, and it made sense. And I was like, oh, it's because you can. They say reason and rationality. It is, but guess what? It's still false. It's man's reason, and
Yeah.
it's blinders. And just like you said, that's the best spot for you to be in is as complacent and um, what's the word I'm thinking of when you're just willfully ignorant of something. Apathetic toward
Yeah.
it. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how. That's the best place to be. Yeah, like, they don't have to do anything. They got you right in the best place. But when I was thrown out there and I could see it, I saw the trap that I was in that atheistic rhetoric that they have. It's brainwashing, and it's just like I saw it for what it is, and it's just a trap, and it's a trick, and it's all bullshit,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. 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 We can
It's
see it.
terrifying. There's terror out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
darkness. Yeah, it sounds sexy and it sounds cool. Oh, bring it on! It's terrifying. It's there's nothing good about it.
Nothing good about it.
Nothing
Yeah.
sexy about
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's yeah, it's the
Yeah.
worst terror that you can imagine. Way more terrible than all of the medieval artists tried to
Mm-hmm.
come up with Dante and all that
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah.
It's worse than any of that stuff. It's this
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
darkness is it's terrifying. It's pure
Yeah,
terror.
yeah. I had a couple. I've had the past year. I've had a couple little tiny glimpses of hell, hell here on Earth, like hell in my own existential drifting away from virtue. And I'm just talking about a couple of days where I had fallen, and then I needed to get to confession, but I was still suffering from having opened the door to the demons. I had a little taste of hell.
Mm.
Some of the saints have a really strong experience where they're transported to hell and they have a prolonged experience. And even the little shepherds and shepherdesses of Fatima, the little children of Fatima, they were shown hell, and their lives changed, and they were just saying, "Stay away from love of money, stay away from sexual sin." And pray for the conversion of those who are on their way to hell, because there are many people on their way to hell, and they need your prayers to be saved. They need your prayers to be saved. Now, someone like Aaron Ra would say, well, how would God allow these people to be lost but for the prayers of their fellow men? Well, that's the economy of salvation. We're part of God's saving plan. We have to pray for each other. And if some poor fool is on his way to hell and you don't pray for him, it could have been that you could have been instrumental in bringing him the graces he needed to be saved. And if you didn't, then that's the way the economy of salvation works. It doesn't mean that God's ways are not fair. It means that our ways are not fair. We are betraying God. He's never betraying us. But part of his economy of salvation involves us praying for each other, praying for the intercession of the saints, and so on and so forth. So we have to be aware that hell is real, and a lot of people that we love are maybe on their way to going there. What do you think the numbers are like in terms of the world? Because you went out into the world, you were living a worldly life for a little while.
Yeah,
Are we outnumbered? Those of us
absolutely,
who say yes to Christ, are we outnumbered?
absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. I mean, the hold on a second.
Nice avatar.
Yeah, I got uh, when I was out and about, and like you said, we can see through it kind of a different lens and see. I don't know if some people can or can't or whatever, but I could see the same. God dang it, dude! My dad keeps trying to call me. I could see that demon. I could see that around every corner, around in the bars, lurking, staring at me through the eyes of some of these people, and they'd come and talk to me, and some of them would have the same message. like
Oh,
part of the same conversation. Like a homeless guy would come up and start talking to me, and then somebody else, and it'd be like that same thing there,
thread.
picking up the same conversation,
Yeah,
just walking down the street, man, and downtown Reno one night. Um, and yeah, it's everywhere, and the people are just laughing and drinking
yeah, yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
their way because it's the darkness, man. It's that this void, the abyss or whatever it is it's fucking palpable. You can feel it, you can see it, and it's terrifying. And these people are completely blind, and there's that demonic presence is there, just putting that illusion in front of them, putting that veil in front of them, and like you talked about that veil, I think, and then we see the veil lifted off and just see this ugly, disgusting thing that's underneath it, and it's just, yeah. So we're very outnumbered, and I think that the masses are definitely, like it says, under the sway of the power of the evil and the prince of the power of the air. Dude, they're doing their thing, and they seem to be doing well.
Hmm.
uh, but like me, like I know now, like they don't have any power that you don't give to them. You have to give it to them. Like
Yeah.
you give into the lie, you give into your lust. Like in James, it talks about we're lured by our own evil desires, and that's all it is. We're easy marks, and once you start playing with that, um, it overtakes you, and you can't even see it. So I am very fortunate that God's allowed me to not go into total blindness or into that type of deception. Because I mean, I was pretty much there, completely deceived in every way, all over again. But somehow, I would just someone would randomly also speak light into my life and
Mm.
kind of lead me out of it, or show me for a second what I was really playing with.
Mm.
Like, oh, this is what you wanted. Now you get all you want, buddy. And I still kind of feel like that. Like when they were wandering in the wilderness and they were bitching about no meat, and then God's like, "Oh, you want
Well,
some meat? Do you? I'll give it to you till it's coming out of your eyeballs and coming out of your nose." And that was me. Like I thought this lust and this pride thing. Here, now have all you want, and I have these girls, and I knew it was the voice of the devil. Like they would all say the same. Oh, you're so talented. Oh, you're so good looking. You're so like just stroking my pride and my ego, and it's all rooted in pride. Is where they attack you. Well, at least for me, uh, and
yeah.
uh, and they were all saying the same thing. It was so eerie to where I was like, just shut the fuck up. I know
Mm.
who you are.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, because
Yeah.
they're almost like childish. The demons.
Yeah.
They have a childish way to taunt you in a way.
Immaturity. Yeah.
Yeah, and I could. It was very very eerie to see that same thing
Unnerving.
coming. Yeah, but even in that, it scared me kind of straight in a way,
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay, this is real, but I still felt like I couldn't get out of it. I was like, oh well, God's given me over to a debased mind, and here I'm done.
Mm.
But he's pulling me back in, so that's good. But I'm still not right, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I still feel the pull,
Yeah.
because now that I've opened that Pandora's box or whatever it
Yeah. Yeah.
is,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I don't know how I'm not going to make it, but by the grace of God, anyways,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know I can't do it. So we'll see
I
what happens.
I remember a couple of nights being like in a feverish state when I was tempted. Like I opened the door for Satan because of the sexual imagery in this video game I was playing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I lost my peace. And I lost my ability to pray, like you used to say, like your prayers bounce off the ceiling.
yeah.
And I was just drowning, like just drowning in the demonic darkness and
Ugh.
hideous sex and violence imagery, including incest and everything else. Like
Yep.
about I won't go into details. It's disgusting, but I could stir that up again. Like that's a type of thing where the demons know I like certain types of sex and violence stuff. Not in reality, but in my mind, I'm able to be lured by this sort of stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And never experienced it in reality. I had one girlfriend who was a bit crazy, and she wanted me to beat her up during sex. I said, no, that's not what I'm into, right? So
Yeah.
it's never been a thing. I'm sure if she had persuaded me and I'd gotten into it, I'm sure I would have enjoyed it,
Yeah.
meaning lust could be stirred up, right? But um, No, the point that I'm trying to make here is not to brag about what a disgusting sinner I am, but to talk about the when you're in that state, when you're drowning, like there you don't God is, apparently God's of no help to you whatsoever at that point. Like, I mean, you're just like drowning in the
Yeah.
darkness, and the only thing that kept me positive, if you want to say, or hopeful, is like I gotta get to confession. I gotta get to confession. I know the power of confession. I've felt it, many,
Yeah.
many times, but I was desperately in need of it. I just said, on such and such a day, my next opportunity, I'm going to go, I'm going to get confession, I'm going to get the Eucharist. And as soon as I got absolved from my sins, it was like a great weight lifted off me. I had clarity. I was able to pray. And
Oh yeah.
it's a night and day thing. When you're drowning in the darkness, it feels like God can't help you or he won't help you. But
Yeah.
you have to remember that you're in a position, in a compromised position, that you put yourself in willingly. That's the whole entire point. You put yourself here willingly, and
Yep.
now you have to suffer through it. You have to suffer. I just told myself, look, I don't care. They could do what they want with my mind. They can send all the images they want into my mind. I'm going to try to pray. I would find myself going along with the images, like, oh, that's interesting. And I would go with the demonic images, fantasize about something disgusting. And then I'd say, well, I can't, that's not good. I got to prepare myself for confession, and I got to reach out. Even though my prayers aren't working, I have to at least try to reach out, because if I don't at least try to pray when I'm being seduced by these demonic images and turmoil, if I don't at least try, then maybe I won't even have the desire to keep my my date that I fixed in my mind where I'm going to go and get the sacrament. So it's it really is up to you. It's up to you. It's all about the will. It's all about your will. Are you, whose side are you on? And you make that choice. Fundamentally, you make that choice, and you know it. You know when you're choosing to be selfish. You know when you're choosing to indulge in darkness, and there's absolutely no excuse. When the saints talk about Judgment Day and your particular judgment, they all say the same thing. They all say that you won't have any rebuttal. You won't have any comeback to God, because you know He's just showing you reality, and you
Yeah.
know that you chose that. You know that you compromised yourself. You know that you hoard yourself out, cheap, super cheap. And there's
Yeah.
absolutely, at that point, there's nothing to say. There's nothing to say other than thank you for uh, giving me a second chance, a third chance, fourth chance, millionth chance, whatever it was.
Yeah. Absolutely.
God is good.
He is. He's also terrifying in that way. I mean, but yeah, you're totally right. But I mean, I felt like after I did what I did initially, um, I felt God, because I was in all this quandary, like, oh, is God even real? Is any of this does Christianity even represent who God is? And um, I was in confusion, or is He even with me? But then when I fell, and He turned His face away from me for a minute,
Mm,
and then I was like, I knew what the gift that I had, and that I
mm-hmm,
was questioning, and I was taking for granted that, because I had that, because once that piece was really gone, and it's like I felt that emptiness, like I'm in the abyss, I'm out. I knew it was God had turned His face from me, and all my doubt and all that stuff, it was out the window. I knew that what I had, I knew it, and I'm just like, oh my God, and the gift that I had in my family and my
mm,
kids, man, like
mm,
the gift that I had, and I just squandered it, and I pissed all over everything, and it just destroyed me. And the gift that I had with Him, but Him turning His face from me was like the biggest eye-opening experience, because I felt what it would really be like to be back in that darkness, and it was the same feeling that I had 10 years ago when I had that dramatic experience just prior to that I was set free from this emptiness, um, came back, and it was that same old familiar feeling,
mm.
and I was like, I remember this. Holy fucking shit! It was, oh man, so sobering, and terrifying, and just it's I'm such a fool. Like, it's foolish. I had it. I already had it, and I had to pick it apart, and I had to, it's so stupid. I'm such a fool. Like in the biblical definition of a fool, like a fool. It's how, so I just never want to get to that place again. I don't know if I can, but it was eye opening. It was grace, but I would not have lasted long if he hadn't started drawing me back. But when I felt that I was alone for a minute there, and the feeling of being alone and not having him, I was suicide was right around the corner. And I'm not playing like it. It was more than I could bear. And Psalm 88, it's a Psalm of David, I believe. He says it perfectly, and that's my psalm right there. We should read it. You should read some of it. If you get a chance during this thing, because it perfectly portrays exactly the feeling of he talks about he's just being drowned in God's wrath and being placed in the pit to be forgotten. It's the exact experience of that, and it's terrifying. But yeah, Psalm 88.
You want me to read it, or do you want to
read it, dude? No, yeah, you read it, man.
Okay, my voice is not great, but I'll read it anyway. Psalm 88, a song, a psalm of the sons of Korah to the choir,
sons of Korah.
To the choir master according to Mahalath Leanoth, a maskil of Heman the Ezrahite. Okay, here we go. Psalm 88. O Lord my God, I call for help by day. I cry out in the night before thee. Let my prayer come before thee. Incline thine ear to my cry. For my soul is full of troubles, and my life draws near to Sheol. I am reckoned among those who go down to the pit. I am a man who has no strength, like one forsaken among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, like those whom thou dost remember no more. For they are cut off from thy hand. Thou hast put me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. Thy wrath lies heavy upon me. And thou dost overwhelm me with all thy waves.
Oh, man.
Thou hast caused my companions to shun me. That's when I abandoned you for 1 year, remember? Doing my own thing. Thou hast caused my companions to shun me. Thou hast made me a thing of horror to them. That's true. Mm-hmm. I am shut in so that I cannot escape. My eye grows dim through sorrow. Every day I call upon thee, O Lord. I spread out my hands to thee. Dost thou work wonders for the dead? Do the shades rise up to praise thee? Is thy steadfast love declared in the grave, or thy faithfulness in Abaddon? Are thy wonders known in the darkness, or thy saving help in the land of forgetfulness? But I, O Lord, cry to thee. In the morning my prayer comes before thee. Lord, why dost thou cast me off? Why dost thou hide thy face from me? Afflicted and close to death from my youth up, I suffer thy terrors. I am helpless. Thy wrath has swept over me. Thy dread assaults destroys me. Thy dread assaults destroy me. They surround me like a flood all day long. They close in upon me together. Thou hast caused lover and friend to shun me. My companions are in darkness. Amen.
Yeah.
Pretty dark.
Yeah. That was it, man.
Thy wrath lies heavy upon me.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt it, man. It was not good. It is not. And how it talks about you laid me down in the regions of dark and deep. He's talking about like just a dead man with no strength, no hope. Dark. That's the darkness that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then how it says the waves, and it just come in these waves, these overwhelming waves of terror. I was a wreck, dude. I was a wreck for a few weeks. I could barely hold it together at work. I'd just start crying in mid conversations, talking about the weather and stuff. Like I was destroyed day and night. And then I had to confess to, because I was going to try and keep it I was like, I can't say anything about this. I'll just keep it under my hat. I'll never do this again. But yeah, that wrath, those waves of terror, just, I couldn't get away from it, man. So I had to confess to my wife. I only made it like 3 days, and confessed everything. And yeah, and I'm still suffering the effects of my sin. Yeah, the consequences. And this is by far the most pain I've ever endured in my life. And I've caused, my wife
Yeah.
an unimaginable amount of pain,
Yeah.
which is, I never would have thought that I was capable of doing this, or, well, which is stupid. I know I'm capable of doing things, but I never would have guessed that I would do this. And that was the part of the worst part, is the pain that I'd caused her. And now my family is just destroyed, it's, the consequences are huge. And like you told me, I'm going to have to accept them. I tried to hide from it. I've been trying to run and to numb it, and, doing certain things. And there's no rest from this.
No. You're on the cross. You're on the cross now. I mean, it's too late. You're nailed to that cross. I mean, you got two options: suffer and die with Christ, or try to alleviate your pain here and then have eternal pain forever.
Yeah.
Well, these are your two choices. You better to suffer now. Much better to suffer now and enjoy it. Enjoy it. You have to remember that. You have to remember that. Very important, because if you can't get through it. You can't get through that much pain without joy. You can't. You're gonna be crushed by it. It's enough to crush. You know that it's supernatural because you would be crushed by it already.
Absolutely, man. Yes.
Yeah, it's supernatural because you're not crushed right now. You should be crushed right now, but you're not. And you still can be crushed if you lose your faith. But it's only the grace of God that keeps you from being crushed right now. But you're going to suffer just to the threshold of how much you can handle, and no more, right? It's not going to be more than you can handle with the help of Christ. But you're going to be pushing to that limit of what you can handle. And you have to, if you don't have peace and joy, that's a sign you're doing something wrong, because you have to maintain your faith and go to prayer and the sacraments, and be humble and sincere at all times, and face the darkness and the filth of it, and that's it. I mean, it's either that or alleviate, try to hide it, numb it, and then burn in hell for all eternity. That's not a viable option.
Yeah.
And suicide is not an option. It's not an option. And you owe it to your kids, even if you're resigned to going to hell, which you are not, and which you should not be. But even if you told me, David, I give up, I'm resigned to going to hell, even then you would have to stay alive for the sake of your family, for the sake of your children, because it's just too much. That's, as a friend of mine told me recently, that's an intergenerational wound that you would be inflicting on your kids, your kids' kids, your kids' kids' kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's a web of darkness that will be ruining so many lives. So even if you told me you give up and you wanted to you're content with going to hell and you're going to kill yourself, you would still have to, even on a human level, you would have to, out of respect for the generations that are coming, you would have to just suffer through and die a natural death. That's your lot in life. Even if you didn't have faith, but you do have faith. You have faith, so you're able to suffer with joy. You're able to suffer with Jesus Christ. And you always wanted to know what it was like to be the good thief on the cross next to Jesus. Now you're going to find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to think about it in those cinematic terms. Like, you're there. It's a privileged place to be on a cross next to Jesus. Like, you're right there. So that's a very privileged place to be. Don't waste this opportunity. I know you like wasting opportunities and you like taking things for granted. But this is the big one, right? I don't know if you're going to get another chance like this.
Yeah, this is I don't know, but I'm telling you, I don't think so. I think this is it. Just the depths that I think God has made it very clear in very, very many ways. And even you saying it now, no, this is it. And it's going to be a struggle. Last time, I went through this and I had my conversion, dramatic conversion thing. It was easy. God just simply reached into my life, took away all those evil desires,
Mm.
and I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to try. I didn't have to struggle. I was just like, yay! But this time, I'm gonna have to fight tooth and nail.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
have to seriously. I know that it's like, okay, well, you had it. You had it. You had to get out of jail free, and now you're gonna have to dig your way out.
The
But he's gonna be with me.
the honeymoon's
But
over.
yeah, but and yeah, yeah. Keep playing with that, and I know that I'm on the very ledge
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
heaven, hell, eternity, this life, even like it. I can't go into the details, but
Don't go into it.
my life was put in. I almost lost my life a few times in a short amount of time when I was out there. Uh, so even that very fragile. Yeah, he's gonna pull my card here. He still
Nah.
might. I still might. But he's giving me the grace because even now, certain things that I was into, or uh, um, I might have succeeded in killing myself, but it's going to be a little bit of a process until it comes to fruition. But then that's whatever time I have left, how short or long or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm seeing is that golden opportunity that he's given me a chance to repent. I have no guarantee that I'm going to have my family back, have a nice life like Job, have everything returned to me that was taken. No, I mean, but the prize and the thing is that I get to repent.
Yeah.
I have the opportunity right now to repent, and I'm still, I still have some repenting to do. Honestly, like I confess, I'm still not 100% alive or given everything up that I need to give up. I still have some crutches that I'm holding on to
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of
of
the
course, of
despair.
course.
But I'm not letting go of him, and
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna
And
I'm not gonna let go.
you have the peace now where you can pray and your
Yes,
prayers aren't bouncing off the ceiling.
yes,
That's the litmus
yes,
test. That's the litmus test that you're not
yeah,
like actively being toyed with. The door is shut to the demons,
hmm
right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you got your weaknesses, whatever. But just like me, like right now, I mean, as soon as I went to confession, bang, I'm back. I can pray and okay, yeah,
yeah,
I have a slip of the tongue. I say some bad words. I do a selfish thing. I cheat on my Lent diet, whatever it is, like little sins. But it's night and day compared to like being actually in the hands of the demons. It's night and
yeah,
day. You know you're okay. You know God loves you, and that they're little sins, and you repent. You know, you say, well, I shouldn't have said what I just said, or I shouldn't have had that second piece of cake, or whatever it is. And so it's not a big deal. You know you're in good graces. You know you're in good graces.
yeah. I have hope is and hope is a
Yeah.
big thing.
Well, yeah. Well, you
You,
feel you feel the difference. Like you're able to pray. That's like the litmus test. You're
and the
you're
Word of
you're
God
there.
is alive to me again. Like
Yeah.
it was a dead book. Like when I was believing all the atheist stuff and
Yeah.
textual criticism is like the
Demonic.
dude. It's so good and it's like and it's real. Like
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it's real and you have to be able to deal with it. But I mean, through all of that and through all that confusion and very good arguments from the other side, it just became a dead book to me. I'd pick it up and start reading it and be like, oh, doubting every word. Like, oh, that's not what he really said. Oh, that's blah, blah, that's contradicted by this other passage and all this stupid shit. But now that's all out the window. I can read it and feel it reading me and giving me life and convicting me and stuff. And that's huge, man.
Yeah.
Because it is a holy and inspired book. I don't, whatever. It really is. And they can point out all the textual bullshit that they want, and even some of it's real. It is actually real. So it's like something you have to wrestle with, I guess. But I don't have to wrestle anymore because I can see it. I know that trap and that lie that they're in
Yeah.
because I was in it myself.
Well, yeah,
And now I
the
can see through it. I can see how I can see how bullshit it is. It seems so like ironclad and solid. It's like, oh, you can't get around this, man. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Well,
So and
yeah,
that's a big thing. Yeah.
you know now that there are a lot of subtle tricks and that the
Oh
intellect
yeah.
can be lured into argumentation and this sort of thing. But
Hmm.
who and what God is, and that the responsibility you have to not displease God and not to offend God, and it's that simple. Like you can rest on a very simple faith, and like Ernie, like you can sort of model yourself after Ernie. Like he doesn't get involved in debates.
No. Nope. He was
Would that help
humble,
him?
man.
It won't help him. He's
It
humble.
wouldn't.
It wouldn't help
Yeah.
him. So it's a
Hmm.
bunch of BS. You know that it's just the devil just trying to use 99% truth and just that 1% of
Yeah.
lies just to get
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
drifting. And you talked about it yourself. Like you just start moving a little bit in this direction, he's happy, and he'll give you lots of truth on your way out the door.
Hmm.
But once that door closes and you're in the depths of hell, like hell on earth, a little foretaste of hell.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, it's night and day, right? There comes a point. The image I like to use, as you were talking earlier, the image that came to mind was we're sheep, right? We're supposed to be Christ's sheep, and He's the good shepherd. But when we let ourselves be talked into leaving the pack, leaving the church, and just going like pretty much in the same direction, but we're just veering off from the pack a little bit, and we're listening to this new guide, right? Who seems very nice and intelligent and slick, and then he's very gentle with you. He's not touching you. He's just letting you drift with him. But then if you say, "Hey, well, I want to go back to Christ and His church," it's just like then the goad comes out, then the mask comes off, and you see the wolf that's there,
Hmm.
and it's like the sheep have gone around the corner and over the hill, and you're like, am I ever going to get
They're
back?
gone. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
gone. I'm
am
lost.
I? And
Oh yeah.
he's revealing like, ha ha ha, I got you. It's your fault. You're unfaithful to your God,
Mhm.
and but you're back in the fold now. That's the point I'm making here, right?
Yeah.
And you can see the dangers of these people and how they wear a nice mask until you start offering resistance to their coercion, right? Because
Yeah.
at first it can be as gentle as they want, as long as you're deviating. But they're going to show their hand. They're going to show their force. They're going to drop the
Yeah.
mask at some point.
Yeah.
And you and I have seen that. Robert White has never seen that because he's just always been going with these false guides. They don't have to take off the mask, and they don't have to pull out
Nope.
the sharp goads.
Yeah. They have the blinders on. It's just a haze, and everything looks good, and you're just content in yourself. And yeah, they don't have to do anything to you at that point. You're
Oh,
just
religion is stupid. It's a bunch of mythology. Oh, these people are
yeah, just
stupid.
stroking their pride. And pride, it's like it strokes their ego and strokes their pride, and that is the thing that will keep you away from God.
Yep.
He resists the proud, and yeah, and Satan and the demons will play on your pride, and all of that intellectualism and all that stuff. It's just pride. Like, oh, these stupid idiots believe these stupid things. Yeah, they are stupid things, but they happen to be true. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like they can point out that stuff, and it's like, and make good points and be rational and this and that. But it's just, it's all pride and stroking
Oh,
the ego.
you believe in talking snakes? Oh,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah,
I'm better
yeah.
than you.
I do believe that a snake can talk like by various different means, through demonic means. God can speak through a snake, or it could just be the illusion of a snake, the image of a snake. There are many ways that a snake, or apparently a snake, can talk. Many ways.
Right.
I mean,
Or even this, and I don't know if this is too far out. Even in because in my mind, yeah, sure, I don't discount stuff, but I also think that the message that story about the snake contains so much God-inspired truth of
yeah,
how the enemy works. Because what did he
yeah.
do? He subtly told these two humans lies, half truth, lie, half truth, lie. Oh, you're not going to die today. You're not going to die, and they didn't die. They didn't die for a long time. They lived for 900 years, right? But it was a different type of a thing. And you'll be like God. And what does God say? Oh, now they're like us, knowing good from evil. So he told them the truth, though. You'll be like God. Your eyes will be open.
Uh-huh.
And that was true. God
Yeah,
even admits it. He says, now they're like us. We're going to
yeah,
have to do something. We're going to have to kick him out of the garden now. That's why he did that. So
yeah.
there was truth there, but that subtle little lie and now they're outside of the garden. This is tripping me out right now because this is my little a microcosm. My little experience is like a microcosm. Getting kicked out. Like I was already in the garden, everything's fine, and then I start doubting it, and I just had to go and touch that thing. And once I touched it, like the butterfly wings, you touch it and it doesn't get off the ground, it falls. It can't. It's like, oh my God, what have I done? You know. And when their eyes were opened, it was not a joyous thing. Like, oh great, now we have this knowledge. It was terror to them, right?
Yeah.
And they were afraid of God after that. You know. So yeah, he works in that exact same way. So it's truth. You know, if a physical snake ever talked or not, that's story and that truth contained in there is truth. It's true.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've ever experienced.
Either way you want to look at it.
I don't know if you've experienced snakes in drug trips, but when I was overdosing on hashish when I was about 20. At a party, outdoor music festival, a hippie music festival. I just kept eating hash because nothing was kicking in, and I didn't know that it takes a while to kick in.
You gotta wait, man.
So
for a minute.
My friend and I overdosed, and plus we were smoking too. And I'm very sensitive. I'm very sensitive to all drugs and substances, right? So I was really messed up.
Yeah,
and
that's strong stuff too.
I was hallucinating, or it was a spiritual experience. I don't know which, but I've had a couple on drugs where, but this one involves snakes. I was walking through a field. Like this is the day after when I supposedly had recovered. I didn't feel very good, but I supposedly recovered. You know, the next day I didn't manage to sleep too much, but it was the next day. I'm still at the hippie party outdoors. I'm walking through the tall yellow grass, which is waving through the wind. But it would break in and out of two different worlds. One where it was grass, one where it was snakes nipping at my heels. Just licking my heels. And so the symbolism of that is, it wasn't extreme. It was not extremely dark like scary snakes. It was just like the symbolism. I've always known about, even when I was an atheist at that time, I knew about the symbolism, obviously, of the serpent, right?
Yeah.
And so the symbolism of it troubled me a little bit, and the fact that I'm not in control of which reality I'm in at this moment. Like I'm supposed to have been sobered. I'm supposed to have sobered up. It's like 15 hours later. Why am I still like it? Why am I? Which reality am I actually going to end up being in? The crazy one with snakes, or the normal one where it's just grass? It's scary.
Yeah, it is scary. Yeah, and yeah, just a spooky thing that I want to share that happened, and then the snake thing too. But when I was messing with this one of these women, and she was talking about telepathy and these things, and something about hair, and she was actively trying to curse me because of some stuff that happened a while ago. And this sounds so probably silly to people, but I'm telling you, this stuff happened. And even 2 weeks later, after I hadn't, I was, sober and stuff. And she was, that girl, that voice has woken me up out of my sleep, talking to me in my room. And I thought there was just someone sitting at the foot of my bed. I thought she had broken into my house or something. And it was just a voice communicating spooky ass shit like that. And the serpent thing. And then a girl that I saw briefly, has a tattoo of a snake wrapped around her entire body. It's a snake, and I saw that, I was like, holy shit. And it was a snake, and then on the back it came up and it was perched, and it was about to eat this little frog that's just sitting there, a little happy frog, and it's about to devour it. It's going like that. I'm like, I'm that little fucking frog, man. Oh man, I knew it. I was just like, oh my gosh, dude. But I know the symbolism of that serpent, and I was just like, it was so obvious, like I don't know, like, hey, this is what you're doing, buddy. Look.
I had a dream last night, a very troubling, well, moderately troubling dream about a large, sort of human-sized frog, like a frog demon thing, that was. We were sort of playing hide and seek with it. Like I thought I saw it here, where I went around to try to find it, and it's like it would appear somewhere else. It was like this flattened out frog, like upright, flat frog, upright. It was like very strange, mildly troubling. Like it didn't have a lot of emotional impact, but upon waking up and thinking about it, and the imagery of frogs is also it's an image of demons. Also, the frogs.
Oh wow, okay.
You'll
Didn't know
find
that.
it. You'll find it. I think in Revelation.
Oh yeah, the frogs come out of the one of the beast's mouth.
Yeah.
The frogs, yeah, the three. Yeah, you're right. I do remember a little bit about that.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a trip, man.
So the key is keep the faith, suffer with joy and humility, and just one day at a time, and that's it. I mean, I'll be here to help you.
That's fine.
I had no idea you're going through all this dark stuff. Like when I took a year off from the podcast, I didn't talk to anyone for a whole year,
Yeah,
and I had no
it's your
idea
fault, man.
that. Yeah,
It's all your fault.
I'm sorry. I repent. I repent.
You abandoned your brother. Look where I am, man.
Well, like I said, it might have a silver. I think it really does have a silver lining. I don't think you would be where you are right now in terms of the faith and getting the sacraments
No.
if
Yeah.
you hadn't fallen. It's a
Yep.
high price. It's a very high price you paid, and that others are paying. I know that. I'm not downplaying that the price
Yeah.
that you're paying and that those close to you are paying, and we'll continue to pray. It's like a domino effect. Like it's the
Yeah.
the damage is done, but the damage is also not done because it's got that ripple effect, like you said. But the good news is you're able, by the grace of God, to repent every day and every moment of every day, and avail yourself of worthily avail yourself of prayer and the sacraments. So it's amazing, and hopefully you'll be an inspiration to others that are lost, confused, dabbling with the New Age, with Wicca, with all that dark stuff. Maybe horror movies like my previous guest that I interviewed today, the Catholic Ninja. He talked about his addiction to horror movies, and he thought there was nothing wrong with them. But then when he had a sort of spiritual cleansing with a priest, he did a general confession, and he renounced Satan and all of his works. The next time he went to watch a horror movie, he was actually horrified for the first time because he saw through the veil. He saw the veil was lifted. He saw how demonic this entertainment really is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's in everything, and it's like subtle. Like some people, think it's just out there, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But no, it's right there in our TV and the stuff we watch and music.
Yeah.
A lot of it was because I had turned away from because I was in satanic music my whole life. It's just what kind of genre that I liked, and I started listening to a little bit of that, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, to where that was all I was listening to again. And it does have an effect on your mind, and it's all about your mind.
Yep.
It twists you, and it is ugly, and it's gross, and it's just all part of that lure and that bait. It's just, man, it's everywhere, and it's in everything. So, all of that stuff, the worldly shit. just throw it out. You gotta throw it out.
If you are a friend of the world, you're an enemy of God. That's a pretty clear statement. Pretty clear statement.
Yeah. And you can see it. It is, and there's no neutrality.
Yeah,
you're with him or you are an enemy.
Yeah. Yeah. Powerful. At least your eyes are open.
Yeah.
Will they remain open? Well, if you keep feeding your faith and stop feeding the demons, and I'll be here. I'll be here to help you, to remind you, and we'll chat again soon. We'll try to chat more often, more than once a year. We'll chat more than once a year. How's that?
More than once a year. That's a good goal.
Okay,
all right, my brother.
Love you lots,
man. I love you all out there. What have you talked to our dear friend Nick at all? Nick Stumphauser? Have you heard from him?
Please put me in touch with him. Put me back in touch with him. I want to give a shout out to Nicola Krisick. He's chatting in the chat, saying hello to us.
Yo, what up, Nick?
And Lord Mozart, my friend.
Oh yeah, he's a good dude.
He says your vape is very fat. So
thanks. Pulling the fat hits off there. I love all you guys. And the Lisney brothers, what up?
Yeah.
Love you guys. Our homies. Heck yeah, man.
Good stuff. So we'll keep in touch and reach out to me anytime as usual by email.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, man. This is fun. It's good talking to you. Yeah,
Very
I'm so
nice
glad
hearing
to
your
get.
voice. I'm inspired by you, brother.
I'm glad you got the podcast going again because it's really been it was a great thing for me in my life. Plowing through all the episodes and stuff, I've really
Oh,
enjoyed it, and then the friendship that I have with you and a couple of
yeah,
the people in the community has just
yeah,
been.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's really good. It's a tool God's using. I really do. I think so, man.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
It's cool.
I'm a real
So
tool.
keep it up,
But
man. Quit being a
but
bum.
one thing I want to mention. I've got maybe 4 episodes of you at various stages of your wild and weird journey,
Oh
faith
yeah.
journey, that I haven't published yet. So, do you want to review them? If I do edit them, and should I pass them through you first,
No,
or
whatever,
just
dude.
publish it?
You can publish whatever you want, man.
There's a lot of weirdness.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Cool.
I haven't listened in over a year, but I know that we've had some conversations where you were like, yeah, going through your atheistic phase and stuff like that. That's okay
Mm-hmm.
to.
Absolutely, man.
It's all right.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
I might dig some of those out because it might help you to see, holy cow, look at the journey I went on. Like
Yeah.
so much confusion, and other times of crystal clear clarity, like Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. Like just everything, all over the
Yeah.
map, all over the
Yeah.
map. So, but always with a smile. You're always the same lovable guy.
Well,
So,
thanks. Well,
thanks for being there.
yeah, I love you guys. Have a good one.
Talk to you soon. Good night, my friend.